Hello everyone, I am in the kitchen today prepping for my week ahead with the EF3, and I thought I'd go live just to show you how quick and easy it is to meal prep, whether you've got time today, tonight, tomorrow, whenever. I'm just going to quickly check and see that we are working and that we're all the right way up, etc. Because it's just me in the house while Dave is working outside. Now let's just see what's going on here. Okay, I cannot see that I am live. Aha! But are we in the right or wrong group? Okay, now I have to come and check something. Sorry, I just can't see it on the page, so I'm just going to make sure that we are not just on one of the groups. I think we are. Am I just on one of the groups?
I don't know, it's working for me.
Okay, I'm not seeing anything on the page. Let's see if this works. Okay, let's open that up. All right. Okay, I can see that we're live now. Sorry about that. For some reason, it wasn't showing on my page. Okay, so yeah, I'm getting ready for the Meg Fast combo. That's what I kind of follow each week for 4 days, which a lot of you have seen that I've been losing a little bit of weight. And today I'm just going to show you some very quick and easy recipes. Hopefully we will be done within, say, about 35 minutes or so. You can watch this back if you don't have time right now. Okay, so what am I going to be making today? I've actually just wrote a quick list. So I'm going to actually make some baharat seasoning, because I'm going to make some cevapi, which is just like a hand-formed sausage. It's really quick and easy, and I'm going to put it in the air fryer, which should cook while we're here. I'm going to make some of the famous naan, and I'm going to make the Fasta, all as fast as I can. So let's get straight into it. Straight up, I'm going to actually get the Fasta into the oven, because I've got to turn up my oven later for the naan, okay? So I'm actually going to do this by hand. I've never actually made it just in a mixing bowl. At least I might have done it on Facebook once before. So if you've got the books, you can follow along with the ingredients. I'm not going to tell you all the amount of ingredients, etc., but you will get the gist of this and see the recipes at least live for those of you who have already got our books. So the Fasta is only 5 ingredients. It's very quick and easy. It's just eggs, apple cider vinegar, salt, psyllium husk powder. I've got that out. We get a lot of people, is this psyllium husk okay? If it doesn't have powder written on it, it's not powder. You'll see here, I know you can't really see that, but think of it as like even like finer sand. It's really fine. It's not flaky or husky, and that's when the husks are different. So you can mill it down if you get the husks. But anyway, I've got my eggs in here. I'm just going to give them a quick whisk. And I've got the tiniest little bit of cream cheese here. For our dairy-free, that can actually be substituted, and the substitute is in the book in that as well too, and it's just another ingredient that is very basic from the supermarket. No fancy ingredients needed. Even with the psyllium husk powder, they are at the supermarket. I have used the Coles and Woolworths brands, and sometimes some of them will turn the pasta purple. So I've written that in the notes of the recipe, but it doesn't affect the flavour at all. Sorry, this is pretty noisy because I'm just trying to get the lumps out of the cream cheese. Like I said, I would normally do this in a mixer. So if you've got a Ninja Bullet or blender, food processor, Thermomix, similar thermal cooker, use one of those, or you could even use a hand mixer. So mine's going to probably be a little bit lumpy, but I really don't care. I'm just adding in my psyllium husk powder. Salt flakes, don't forget the salt flakes ever. That actually strengthens it, and so does the vinegar. And then I'm just going to give that a quick whisk. And you're going to see mine is going to be pretty lumpy, but it'll still work, okay? So it'll still be fine. So normally with the Fasta, we would actually let it rest for 5 to 10 minutes. If you're using the husks rather than the husk powder, you might need to let it rest longer. I'm not going to really bother today. I know I can just spread this out very quickly and get it into the oven. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to undercook mine slightly because I do want to test a ravioli with it. I'm sure that will excite some people. Anyway, I'm just probably going to get a spatula, which I've got one here, and just smush it a little bit just to get some of those lumps out. Now, if I was just doing, if I was you at home and doing this by hand, I would take a little bit more time, and you can heat the cream cheese a little bit more before you mix it in to make sure it's nice and soft. I even used a low-fat cream cheese. I kind of changed over to a low-fat cream cheese. The fat isn't essential in the EF3, it's just the protein. The protein doesn't really change between the two, so I'm just using the lower fat ones because I don't need the extra fat. I've got plenty on me. Okay, I think that's going to be ready enough. But you can see it is now like a thick-ish paste. Like I said, this one will have some lumps in it, but overall the recipe will still be, the outcome will still be pretty much the same. And this particular brand, which I've got in the book link, I just buy that one through iHerb. And it's actually quite old stock. I wonder what the expiry date is on it. Might still be in date or might be old. Can't find it. Anyway, I'm going to just grab my pan. And I'm just going to spread out the mixture as thinly as I can and top it with another sheet of baking paper. Dave's just walking through the room. You're wondering what I'm looking at? So we've had a lot of people be doing these plans, and I'm sure you've all got your favourite recipes. If you have a favourite or have any questions regarding the Fasta, you can write them on the comments, and I'll have a quick look before we finish up today. But what I wanted to do is just show you that this is just how easy it is to prep these meals, okay? A lot of people say, I don't know when to start, or I can't start till this or that or whatever. And it's like, yeah, you can start. You can start right now. You can start tomorrow. You can start in your, normal cooking time that you take every night of the week if you cook at home or whatever. But, a little bit of pre-prep, I think, sets us up for no fail so that you can't have an excuse if you have meal prep before. Now, this recipe actually can also be prepped in bulk, and the best way to store the Fasta anyway is you can cut it into shapes. So this can be cut into sheets for lasagnas. It can be cut into thin strips like for a spaghetti, or a thick wider strip for tagliatelle, fettuccine sort of style, and then just stored in a Ziploc bag. So I'm just going to grab a butter knife. I don't know what a fork's doing in there, and that's a steak knife. Just to scrape off this excess. There. Even this mixing bowl, I don't know when the last time I used it. But I basically spread that out as thinly as I can. I'll pop those over here. Anyway, it's going to be a growing pile in the sink. Grab another sheet of baking paper. Always cover this pasta with the baking paper. It just stops it from drying out. But you can also see what I'm doing now is I'm actually like pressing down and making it more even, a little bit more smooth. You can press it out a little bit more on that too, or you can use a rolling pin to roll it out if you wish. I do recommend with anything that you're going to cook like this, like the pasta that we've got on our website or the Fasta from the book, that you use a Glad bake or a quality parchment paper. The reason being is that some of them, this might even show a little bit on the bottom. So some of them will wrinkle, they'll catch, they stick or whatever. These ones don't. And just in my experience for all the things that I've been doing with years of creating keto tortillas and things like that and rolling them out, this one doesn't break and it doesn't stick. You'll see when it comes out that it should come off quite easily, and if it does a little hook on one edge, I just remove it a little bit. Now I'm just going to quickly show you. This just looks like a messy paste between the sheet, and you can see like I've basically got that out to roughly around about 40 centimetres, 45 centimetres by roughly about 25 centimetres in a big rectangle. And now I'm just going to bake that. I'm just going to pop that in the oven, and I'm probably going to cook this for about 5 or 6 minutes. You can see I'm styling today. I'm in my thongs, I'm in my shorts. Let's just put that on 5 minutes to begin with. Okay, so that's done. Now, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to make my baharat, which is on the website. It's our Lebanese 7-spice seasoning. I absolutely love it, and I love it in cevapi. So I'm going to quickly mix it up. I'll mix it up in this bowl. And then I'll put it in one of my containers, which I did not get out. Just see if we can reach all the way in the back there and not pull that glass jar out. All right. A lot of people ask me where I get like containers from. I get plastic. I drop it, I don't smash it, right? I work in a very busy kitchen here. Glass is not a great idea. Even like as I move a Pyrex bowl, I've broken a couple of those, usually from cold on hot, but anyway. But yeah, I get these from either Pack My Product or eBay is actually a good place to get them. I try and get a lot of things like on Amazon because I like next day delivery, but they have them sometimes and sometimes they don't. Okay, so I actually printed off my recipe from the website, and I'm going to double this one because, like I said, I absolutely love this seasoning. It sounds weird in meat, but hands down, Dave and I just love this in our, like, there's the beef kafta on the website, and this is just going to go into these. This is a similar kind of recipe, but because it's not like on a stick or anything like that, I'm just calling it cevapi. So cevapi as in a hand-formed sausage. So the first one we're going to use is, it says ground black pepper, but I inherited this coarsely milled pepper from my mother's pantry when I cleaned out the kitchen. So I'm just going to use that one up, and that's 1 tablespoon, so I'm going to use 2. Don't worry if it's like coarsely ground or finely ground. Most things in the seasoning, unless you really hate like crunchy pepper, okay? So I'm just going to use that up. And then the next one is cumin or cumin, however you want to say it. We were having the jokes of like making fun labels of, on the Facebook group today, and it's like cumin, chameleon. Okay, so we want 1, 2 of these too. One of my favourite spices. 2 of coriander. These 2 seasonings go so well together, don't they? A lot of questions about tablespoons. I've just done a post on it. I use a 15ml tablespoon because we write recipes for Universal, and Australians are the only ones that actually have a 20 gram or 20ml tablespoon. So if you're reading my recipes, unless it says 20ml or 20 gram next to it, it's a 15ml tablespoon, okay? Allspice. We want 2 of those as well, yeah? Yeah. You can see how accurate I am. There we go. I'll double, it's 2 teaspoons of cinnamon for the one recipe, so I'm going to do 4 teaspoons, so 1 tablespoon. And then, we've got some nutmeg. I never have ground nutmeg in my house. I always grate it myself, so I'm just going to hand mill that. I don't know how many of you are just the same as me, but there is also something that is just sensational about hand grating nutmeg. It just smells so delicious. So a little bit of effort, but so much better flavour. Like I said, this sounds like really weird sort of spices that you would add into meat. But honestly, like, it is so good. The one thing I love about making my own seasonings is it gives you the opportunity to use up spices in your cupboard. Like, so let's just say ground cloves and things like that, which we're going to use as well, which I didn't put in yet. You know, a lot of people don't use them. You know, you might be using it in like some like pfeffernuss or something like that at Christmas time. Or, you know, some hearty stew with just the tiniest little bit, because even this one, we're only going to use 1 teaspoon in this whole mix. But, you know, making your own seasonings, you can use them up. You know exactly what's in them. You can make them as much as you like. Like I said, like I know that I'll just chew through this seasoning so easily because I think I went through the other one like in no time at all. Like it just in a few meals, to be honest. And then I just want 1 teaspoon, which I've got a teaspoon over here, of ground cloves. Always good shaking with the left hand. Okay, and in she goes. We'll just use that to stir. There's our Fasta. So I'm going to show you where this is at. I know it's difficult to see on screen. Move that out of the way. So like I said, you can see like when I peel low to the Fasta and I peel away from one edge and it should come off quite smoothly. Now, this one is completely dry. You never want to overcook it, okay? So like, please don't be cooking it till it's like firm or thick or anything like that. So we want it like this. That is 5 minutes at 150, okay? And it's perfect for where I want it to be. So I'm actually going to turn up my oven because I want this at 200 for my famous naan. I'm just going to pop this over here. That's probably going to be in the way. I'll pop you there, pop you there. Pop this piece of paper because I'll probably just use it for the naan anyway, over to here. Okay, so we've got our seasoning over here. I'm just going to mix that with my teaspoon. Smells amazing. With your seasonings, I just play with them. Like I think everyone's seen, like last week I was making the cevapi, and each day, honestly, had different flavours in it. Like I was doing, because I was making them daily. I like made it with the new Southwest seasoning. I've made it with the everything seasoning. That's not where I'm putting it. I'm putting it in this. And I've got actually a blank seasoning here, so I'm just going to write on it. Baharat. Stick it on here. Then I'll remember what it is. It's funny, like I used to not label things, but I used to not make quite as many as I do now. I actually have drawers full of seasonings over there, and I can actually attest to the fact that I do use them all, and I do refill them. So that is actually why I created the labeling system for me, so that, you know, I can actually have them on file and just, I do replace them because they're just a paper label. And like I say, running a busy kitchen, things just get a little bit grotty and stuff like that. So I like to change them over when I wash them. And I like these, they're Avery labels that you can just get from Officeworks. They come off really easy when you wash as well. So there's a little bit of seasoning left in that, but that's fine because I'll just pop my mince in straight into it. So as you can see, like that's just made like half a container, but it's ready to rock, you know. So I'm not going to put that lid on yet because I'll just crack the seal before I do it, and it might be too difficult for me to open live. Okay, so we want to get one lot of meat into the air fryer so that you can at least see some get made. So I'm just going to grab my lamb mince. I've got some scissors here, kitchen scissors. I use kitchen scissors so much in my kitchen. Please don't use knives to open bags and things like that. Okay, so that's just telling me it's up to temperature. So I'm going to put this lamb mince. You can use beef mince, chicken mince, turkey mince, whatever you want. Now, I was going to show you a trick. A lot of people don't use scales. I don't know why, Like you see, like I do a lot of weights because a lot of people do use Thermomixes or Magimix, similar ones. But you can always just stick your bowl onto a set of scales and you tear it, and then as you're adding things, you're weighing it at the same time. So you can be double checking, even if you're using cups or tablespoons or whatever, you can actually check and see what our measures are. So when we actually do the books, I actually write those measurements, and then the testers tell me exactly what their measurements were. There is variations because people use different size tablespoons, or they pack the cup, they fill the cup to the top, they fill it to this level, there might be a lump in it or whatever. There is slight variations, but it's a guide, okay? So in this one, I just like to use a set of scales, and you'll often see in my photos there's usually a set of scales sitting around because I'm double checking everything that I do. So we're going to add some hemp seeds. I usually just shake them in, but I'm going to guess it's probably roughly around about 40 grams that I use, and that would be about right. Now, same with the seasonings. As you can see, like I said, I've done it with Southwest this week, and I did it with last week, and I did it with Chamula spices last week. These lamb ones, I'm going to do it with the baharat today. There's that tablespoon, and I'm just going to probably chuck in 1 heaped tablespoon. Okay, I have nails, and I hate having anything, under my nails. So on go the gloves. You can use your hands because it's your own food if you want, and if you're like me, you've washed your hands like 50,000 times, and you're just going to smush that into each other. Because whenever you're making a sausage, this is actually lean mince, by the way. When you're making like real sausages in sausage skins or natural casings, or the artificial casings, because I've made a lot of sausages in the past too, you do need the fat, but in this cevapi you actually don't. So I am enjoying, like I said, less fat in my foods. It was one of the most difficult things for me when I first went low carb, was upping the fats, because I just wasn't used to it. I ate lots of carbs in the way of grains and stuff like that pre-keto, but I never ate butter, or I hated butter, actually. Cream and things like that, it was always, if I used it ever, it was always like low fat. But anyway. Okay, so I roughly just grab a small handful of meat, and I just squeeze, because you want it to squeeze. You can roll it if you wish, into, it kind of looks like a poo, right? Now, I'm just going to get my basket out. See, I use these paper liners, makes life really easy. I use an air fryer to actually cook most things that I would cook in a frying pan on the stove that make mess. So think like bacon, always in one of these paper liners, into my air fryer, and then I take it out, throw away, or I pour off the fat, depending on what I'm going to do with it. And I know some people are like, well, don't throw away the fat. But, like I said, I don't really use that often. And even if it went into my fridge, it'd just get lost anyway. But, yeah, these are probably roughly around about 80 grams, even if I quickly tear that. Let's see, 80, 70. Would have been my second guess, but anyway. And I'm just going to place them around that lined paper basket so that there's a little bit of space between them. And they don't stew. You could do this without the liner. It's just extra cleaning in your basket, and the fat or juices will just drain off in the bottom. But because I'm using a lean mince, there's a little bit of that liquid that comes out, but it tends to cook off in the air fryer. So I cook these at 200 degrees for between 20 and 24 minutes. I do like mine to be a little bit crispy on the outside. So I've actually done 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Yeah, 7. I've done 7 every time, so I must do roughly around the same size as each time. Okay, I'm just going to pop that to the side. That's going to be a bit of a bugger, but anyway, I won't do the beef ones while we're live. Now, what I do to get these nice and crispy is I've actually just put some extra virgin olive oil into one of these sprayers, and I just spray just one side of them. And then, because you can see in our seasoning there was no salt, I'm actually going to quite liberally salt each one, what the salt does on meat, and you'll know that like I often, if I say I'm cooking a steak, I'll salt the pan, is when you heat a pan or heat anything, and obviously with an air fryer it's going to get hot quickly. If you salt the top or salt a pan, it creates a really nice salt crust. Not overly salty, not like enough that you're going to go, oh my God, because again, that was another thing I didn't eat pre-keto. But it will add a nice like little crust to the outside of your cevapi. Okay, so that's going in. On 200. I do it for 12 minutes, then I'll flip them over. Done. Okay, so we've got that underway. Now we're going to do our naan, because we've already got our fasta done. We've got our cevapi in the oven. We've done our baharat, and well, I've been going for like 15 minutes. So again, I think I'll just do, I've got my book here, Famous Naan. I think I will still just do that in manually as well. God, I'm giving myself a mission. Let me just have a quick look. Yeah, mix, rest, bake, too easy. Okay, so we've got our oven up to 200 degrees. Yeah, I can just use this, it doesn't matter. It's only had the seasoning and the mince in it, it's going to get cooked, so don't freak out. Okay, so I've just got some cheese and just a mixture of feta and cottage cheese here, because I was just using what was in my fridge. Got some cottage cheese that needed to be used, high protein cottage cheese I'm using today. And I am just going to add in the rest of my ingredients. But it's this, the whole thing about just showing you my meal prep today was just to show you this does not have to be hard at all. And again, in this, because it's like a bread, we don't have to be like traditional naan or anything. I mean, it's far from that anyway. But you can add seasonings into this. So like if you wanted to add any of the seasonings that we just talked about, you could add it into it. If you wanted to add a bit of sauce or a little bit of Parmesan cheese for extra salt, fried capers, chopped olives, any of those sort of things into here that are just like a condiment thing. Or like on the weekends, add bacon bits or whatever if you want to. Go for your life. It'll work out. Okay, so we've just added our eggs. It normally have lemon juice. I don't have any handy, so I'm just going to use this, and it is 1 tablespoon. And she goes. Again, we're just going to pop this onto here. Get our hemp seeds in there. And see, this way, if you actually go by the weights, it's piss easy. Like, you don't actually have to use spoons and stuff like that. Most of the things, you can just chuck it all in there. Oh, we want some of this. Good thing I've got multiple teaspoons handy. And a good bit of salt. All right. The whisk is really not going to cut it because it's got cheese in it. Okay, so I'm just going to smush this all together. Now, the recipe actually says to blend it together. It will make it a different consistency in the mixture. But it's even like some of my other recipes, you don't have to blend or mix or heat. You can do them all from a cold start and that as well. And again, this one says to rest for 10 minutes. We will let that have a bit of a rest because I want the psyllium husk, it's only a little bit that's in there, to absorb some of the egg liquid. Now, you can make this also ahead as the batter. You can have it in the fridge. You can pull it out. You could put it in chaffle makers, waffle makers, pie makers, egg rings. Cook it in a frying pan, cook it in a toaster oven, not a toaster that way. You could reheat it in a toaster that way. Air fryer, same sort of thing. You could even like put it where we've done that lined basket. You can put like a thin layer in the bottom of it or a thick layer and cook the whole thing in that as well. It is completely up to you, the ways you can cook these things. I can't put in every single variation into my books, or you'd have one recipe and 100 different ways to make it, cook it, heat it, reheat it. But we're trying to do more of that so that we can show you how versatile the recipes are. And that is what is like crazy. Like, if you've got these books, tell me how many of these recipes have you made in either one of these two and made them multiple ways. Custard, for example. How many different ways can we do the custard? We've done the flavoured custards, drinkable custard, baked custard, pudding custard, where I've even done, like, I even put the petit fours on the top of the custard. For the weekend, I put white chocolate in it and baked it. It was like, that was divine, by the way. It's like so many different things that you can do. And a lot of these recipes can form the base of so many other things. Like, like I say, I'm looking at this now and I'm going, what could I possibly do with this? Like breakfast bars and stuff like that. Top it with some chopped bacon, onions, even on the weekend, throw in some mushrooms, some pepinata and that from our website. Sprinkle it with a little bit of Italian spices and a little bit of Parmesan cheese, bake them in the oven. You've got like absolutely divine Italian breakfast bar. Now you can see how my brain works. Like, honestly, I could just go on all day long for variations on the recipes that we create. But those books, the whole thing, the whole part of it was to be a plan that has it basic, that you actually follow it first. Like, I love how everyone starts and then they want to stick extra things in it. Don't. Do it as it is first. Because trust me, if you're like me in the first week and lost 5 kilos, I think that's what I lost in my first week. It might have been 3.5, whatever. If you lose that amount of weight in the first week, you're like, oh my God, like, this is like amazing. You stick to it. You don't want to do anything else. But, like, for me, it's just been such an eye-opener. And I just love that I can still use these same recipes every single day and put my own spin on it. Because where I'm doing this cevapi now, I could be doing meatballs, I could be doing the pickled brine tender chicken. I've actually got pickled brine pork tenderloin in my fridge right now that's got to get cooked. I could be doing salmon. I could be doing cold things or even tin things. So like I could actually be using tin tuna or tin salmon, sardines or whatever, and adding that extra protein to these meals and making it so freaking simple. Like, you can see, like, this is ready. Like, I could bake this and cook this any different way. And I've got a bread that can be topped with a little bit of avocado, the pesto from the books. There's a couple of different ones in there. Some of the dips that are in there and that are great, or the gherkin dip type thing. And some extra protein on the top. Totally different meal. Okay, so that is kind of ready. I'm going to grab this same pan, pull our faster off, put this down. So you can see it's like thick, bloop, bloop. You can spread that out nice and thin. You can make them thicker or whatever. Like, the whole thing of this is like, while I say, make 7, make 6, make 3, make 2, whatever I've written in the recipe, if you make it bigger or smaller, that's fine. The whole thing of this plan is to eat only till you're full, only like till you are actually satisfied. So, if you make a big one and you're full halfway, don't eat the rest of it just because it's there. Stick it in the fridge. It'll still be there when you're finished, and you can have it on another day or have it later in the day whenever you're hungry. It's not, it's funny. I was just saying to Dave the other day, I said, it's a lot different than like when I grew up as a kid. We're 2 older brothers, a lot older than me. And, if you didn't eat your Easter eggs or whatever, they ate them. So, you'd like shovel everything down as quickly as possible so that you got your bit. But, now if I didn't eat, my Easter egg and put it in the fridge, it'll still be there later. Although there is a chocolate bandit here as well. Maybe it's just a male thing. Anyway, there. I have got some everything but the bagel. How about we turn it on to sprinkle? Going to pop that on the top, or you can just put like straight Nigella seeds. And I'm going to bake those too. I should have had my chaffle maker out or something. I can show you how easy they are in that too. Put that on for 6 minutes to see how that goes first. So that's done. We've got those in there. I've got some beef mince there, so I might actually, we've got that in there. Got a bowl down here. While it's cooking, I may as well make use of the time. And I had some beef mince here, so I'll just quickly get that ready. Just to show you that, you know, like while you're here, like I could make this into the simple bolognese that's from there. We could do the meaty naan witches. We could make this into meatballs, exactly the same way we've just done it, and make it into meatballs, and then have it in muffins, which, you know, you can make the mega muffin mix. So that's 500 grams of beef mince, by the way. Adele, I just saw all the sizes of the shapes of the liners online. You can, if you actually look, what have I done? You know, I've just done it on something. I think it's either in the Meg Fast or it might be in the jar book. I don't know, one of the testers might be able to help me. I actually have put the link to the liners in the books. It might be in the back in resources and stuff like that, but I'll find it. And I'll give you the link to the ones that I use because they like come in a big lot. And like honestly, I bought 2 big ones. Like I think they're packs of 100. And I never used to use my air fryer, honestly, like because I used it when we created Keto Mojo. I actually had a different air fryer, and then I got a really good one when it was Black Friday sales, which are coming up next month. And I bought mine's is the Philips XXL. And I just updated because the Aldi one, while it worked, it was just huge. It was just like so enormous, and like I was lifting it in and out. Where that one can sit over on my bench that actually isn't normally there. It's over on I've got another bench over there with other appliances on it. And yeah, I just didn't get that why I would want to bake a chicken in an air fryer when I've got a great oven that does a great job, you know. And honestly, I still do that sort of thing in there, but I do test recipes in the air fryer. But cooking all the other things, like I said, like bacon, onions, mushrooms, whatever, like sausages, anything that would splatter all over, because like I've got a really crappy setup here with tiles at the back. I mean, I've got to do up the whole kitchen, but that's just a nightmare in itself to think about. So splattering fat everywhere is just not my idea of fun cooking. I hate it. It's like why you'll see that I rarely ever have anything deep fried on our website. Even recently I did a salt and pepper chicken and the testers loved it. And then I'm like, I just couldn't bear just testing it myself because it just splattered everywhere. So I'm like, no, it's just not going on the website because I hate fried shit. So yeah, like this idea of just using the liners is just so easy and so clean. It's just not annoying. So mine have just begun to nicely brown. You can see them kind of there. So I'm just going to turn them over. And in the liners, like when you're cooking meat like this, you do get those meat juices. I tend to push the meat to the edge so that the meat juices stay in the inside. Sounds weird. Some people might like them to bask in them. I don't. And so then it burns off with the heat while the meat gets to dry out and get nice and crispy on the outside. And then I'm going to actually put that on for an extra 12 minutes. I think also with the different fats in mince, sometimes where I'll say something might take 20 to 30 minutes to cook in the air fryer at 200 degrees, say for instance, for this particular recipe, it will all come down to what grade of mince you're using, what type of mince you're using too. If you're using, say, an 80-20 beef mince, it might cook crispier and quicker because that fat is going to soften and cook the meat faster in the heat. But if you're using a lean meat, it might also dry out faster. So it just depends where it is where you like it. And you can always do it in smaller increments just to check and get used to your preference. Like I said, I come from somebody who was never a meat lover, so I am a kind of a different meat person altogether than probably most of you. Hence in it, unless it's a really good steak, which I do love a really good steak, I'm not probably going to like it. So this one I'm actually going to use a chamula, just shaking it in, and you can do whatever. If you want to add a little bit extra salt or whatever, I am going to do that in this one. And because it's beef to me, beef always needs that little bit of salt and pepper to actually lift it. And I've got some hemp seeds over here. The hemp seeds is like a source of omegas and protein as well, but it's also great to absorb any extra fats and juices in that in meat or meatballs or meat loaves, any of those sort of things in that as well, without using flours or almond meal. So as you know, if you've been following the EF3, we've got no nuts in the plants at all. And I have tried to eliminate it mostly from my diet. I've been obviously testing a lot of things for Christmas. Like at Christmas time, I'm going to eat cookies and stuff like that. Of course I am. On the weekends I can do that, but like throughout the week, yeah, I just try and keep it out. I do sneak in like peanut butter for myself. I don't have it in the plans. I didn't do it when I was losing most of the weight. I just do it now because I actually like the flavour of it. But, you know, I'm controlling what I know I'm eating, and I'm about to go back on a Dexcom for another month, so I'll be able to monitor what my blood glucose levels are doing with the different foods and the plan, so I can give you more information about that. I can just see that they're not ready, so I'm just going to add them on another 4 minutes. So with the naan, or if you're making any of like the famous pizza bases and stuff like that, you can tell it's like they're kind of almost ready when you can actually pick them up and turn them over. And I could just see there it was just like bubbling. So I was like, no. It's kind of like a half-cooked pancake that's not ready to flip. So same sort of philosophy. Okay, so again, I'm like really like squeezing this because you want it not to, you know when you get mince and it's like all in separate pieces because it's gone through that mincer, so it's actually like broken it up. Well, what you're trying to do is you're trying to create the glue in that again, so you're just giving it a good mix. It's mixing that seasoning through as well, and just making it into a tighter meat mixture. So for this one, while we're waiting, I might actually do some meatballs. So again, you can do like meatballs with anything. You can use an ice cream scoop. You can do them in any different size. And this one is a beef mince. So I'm just going to do some rough meatballs and just throw them back in the bowl so it's ready to go into the air fryer. And you know what? If I want to go out for a drive, which I'm going to go out after this for a little cruise in my car, these are they're in the fridge. They're ready to go. They don't have to go on today. They don't even have to go on tomorrow. They can even go in the freezer and be ready, like frozen meatballs, ready for another time. But these meatballs, because I'm doing it as meatballs, they could be with the Fasta that I've just made as well. Or I could just cook this straight up as a bolognese with nothing else. Just add a little bit of broth if you want a bit of sauce. So just keeping it nice and simple. I find like beef stock or beef broth is really good as like a sauce for meat. And if you add just like a little bit of flavourings, like if you like tomato flavour, like a little bit of tomato powder, I don't try and write too many recipes with it in it, but I have to admit tomato powder is always in my seasonings. I buy it, you can buy it online on Amazon. I say I'm guilty of buying lots of things on Amazon. And it's basically dehydrated tomatoes that has been blended into a seasoning. Like let's just say it looks like a red, coriander, but it's tomato powder. And you can add a little bit of that into like your broth and it makes it into a tomato sauce. Or, you can just use a little bit of tomato puree, and that even on the EF3, a little bit goes a long way. And as you might know, I like Vegemite. You can use gluten-free Vegemite as a soy sauce alternative. It gives you that umami, it gives you the salty, sour body, depth, everything into a easy sauce. Okay, so out of that I've just made 10 meatballs that I can then throw into the air fryer. Again, I would probably cook them 10 minutes on one side, see what they look like, and then gauge how long I want to cook the other side. If you're not sure of how they're going, always make sure there's one for the cook so that you can actually have one meatball to try or one cevapi to try, and then you'll know if things are ready. With the recipes in the book, we do get some people wanting to cook things a lot longer. Please don't. Custard, I had somebody saying that theirs turns out like scrambled egg the other day. So a custard's the same whether it's keto, low carb, sugar-free, or full-on carby with, flour and even custard powder added or whatever. You're cooking eggs over gentle heat and you have to constantly whisk it. Because if you leave egg over heat, we all know it cooks. It will actually scramble. It does the same with ice cream. Custard is a form of ice cream in a liquid form. They look pretty good actually. So, watch your heats. But yeah, read the recipes, things like that. They don't need to be extended in the times. It's even like, a cheesecake and things like that. I say one of our very popular recipes is their baked mascarpone cheesecake. And I get lots of people going, I'm making it, and it's still like wobbly. It's like it's meant to. It's like brownie. When you cook a brownie and you take it out of the oven, it's still kind of like liquid. But when it sets, because you've got to think in a brownie is a lot of chocolate and butter. Chocolate and butter, when they're cold, go hard, firm. So you don't need to cook it till it's actually like set. So like say, baked mascarpone cheesecake, it's going to be wobbly. I even write in the recipe, it is wobbly. When you put it in the fridge, it sets, because we all know we can actually do no bake cheesecake and you put it in the fridge and it won't set. So a lot of these sort of things too, like this will feel really soft, but then it'll, like I say, if it's got cheese in it, it's going to go firm, right? So I'm just going to flip these over and I'm going to give them like, say, 1 minute on the other side, but I'm probably going to just grab a cloth that's not damp like that one, so I don't burn my hands. And in she goes. Now, I could have done 4 to one of those baking sheets, so I could actually be cooking double the amount at the same time. But again, we've gone 30 minutes. We've got meatballs, which I could be cooking in a pan, right? So they could be on. We've made a whole seasoning. We've made the cevapi. We've made the famous naan, and we've made Fasta. So just to show you, the Fasta peels off the baking paper as well. So when I do this myself, I tend to roll it off. No magic tricks, okay? Then you can cut that however you want. Like I said, if you want to cut it into sheets or into strips, into rounds, like while it's still soft, if you undercook it, so like in the recipe we've got it to 5 to 6 minutes, you can cook it for like 3 to 4 and you want it slightly tacky, so then you could actually like take this out, put your little blobs of meat, put the other half of the sheet over the top, use a ravioli cutter or a pasta cutter or a pair of scissors or a knife or a pizza wheel, seal it, just pan fry gently, and you can have a raviolo or ravioli, something like that, and then still like put that with a light sauce or something like that, or a broth, or just some melted butter, or some like we've done it in the egg fast one. I think we did the brown butter sage sauce, which is just butter that is just cooked gently till it browns, and then you add the sage leaves and you fry them in the butter till they go crispy. Fried sage leaves are like a taste sensation themselves. If you have not tried them, you must. They are a must try, and it's one of my favourite seasonings that I have loved for absolute decades. I remember when I was like cooking in restaurants back in the day, and I'd use sage, which is obviously a very old-fashioned herb, by the way. And people were like, "What's the flavour in this one like sage?" And it's like, it just wasn't something that was used a lot then, but it's something that I've loved for so long, and we always have some growing in the garden. It kind of takes over. Dave cuts it back a lot, but it doesn't stop it from growing. Okay, so we've got these ones out. We've still got 2 minutes on that. I'll just get these next lot in. They won't be ready probably by the time we finish here, although I do have to have a look at your questions. Ow. I've just got some wire racks over there, so I'm just going to transfer those to there. It's funny, and you can see like this is now like really thick. It's also, I only show you that because like some people go, "Oh, mine's like runny," or whatever. It's like, you've just seen me make it. So, but these definitely do not have to be any kind of size. Like I say, anything's a guide. If you do one of the 4 days and you don't lose weight, then maybe look back and go, okay, well, what did I have? Did I have everything was like dairy laden? Did I eat custard every day, and did I eat like a whole serve? Just look at what you've done and how you could improve it. And that's the whole thing with this cyclical thing. But still on the weekend, don't say I have to, still stay low carb, like as in I have to only eat X amount of carbs or whatever. The idea is you still finish that day, try and have that one high carb day. And like I say, it doesn't have to be where like I go out and I eat like steak and chips and a sauce. It could be where you might want to load up that day on vegetables and have some berries or, or even peaches are in season, say for instance, and you want to have a piece of peach. It doesn't mean you have to have the whole thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, still within sense. I wouldn't go out and eat a donut. Do you know? Like, in saying that, while I'm on the Dexcom, I might do one day that's going to be crazy and just see how long it takes to get back into ketosis. I haven't done that yet. Even just for me to have started to eat things that aren't, generally speaking, on a keto diet, etc., is a bit weird. But the results for me has just been so good that I'm like, well, you know what? It's not doing me harm, that's for sure. I can see, like, not only just on scales and stuff like that, but like my skin, everything is looking and feeling so much healthier. And, I'm not getting any younger. It's not like I'm like 30 and all of a sudden, I feel better because I've lost weight. It's like, I am in my 50s. It's like, yeah, you know what? I feel not too bad. I feel pretty good for, someone my age, and I probably, feel healthier than I did when I was not keto and, considerably younger, and even possibly when I was actually healthier. Like, I recently showed a picture of me when I was like, I think roughly around about 65 kilos at 29 years old. And when you look at the picture, like, you can see I'm smaller than I am today, but I actually don't look as healthy in the face and stuff like that. So it's different shapes. Oh, there you go. I wet this bloody towel again. I'm getting good at wetting something. Anyway, we'll put some seasonings on the top of these. So I've made like big ones. There's 6 big ones there. 4 here and 2 that I've already done. I tend to find I just cut a little bit of this and have it with some, but like, for this, what I was thinking is like I can actually use the cevapi, put it inside one, add a little bit of avocado and some of the pesto, because I'm going to make some. I've got some basil growing well in the garden. So I'll put some pesto on and I'm finished. I'll try 8 minutes. That should do it. And we should have some beautiful looking lamby things here. Just put you on there. So this is like great for like anyone's lunchbox and stuff like that too. I say you could add in any seasoning. So like, if the kids aren't going to like the baharat, add just an everyday seasoning if you like, or add none. Add salt and pepper. But that's totally up to you. But as you can see, I've got like 7 beautiful ones there. I'm going to chuck in these meatballs straight away. I'm not bothered that that's got the lamb fat in it. It'll probably just add flavour, if anything. So I can get these done before I go for a drive. And while I quickly look at your questions, they can be on in the background. Like I say, quick spray. I do this whether I'm doing it in the oven or in the air fryer, and that as well too. Bit of this seasoning. It's just salt. I'm salting over the top. It is optional, but as we know, we're not eating a high salt diet when we change over to making everything ourselves. So adding salt into foods can be essential. I can say, like, personally, as someone who previously suffered from insanely bad, like, those calf muscle cramps that you get when you're asleep, and you wake up and you've got like a humongous, like, I used to say golf ball, but like sometimes they're as big as bloody tennis balls or even a baseball inside my calf muscles. So I find, like, definitely since I've added the salt, because I never used to add salt to anything. I mean, I obviously ate salt in packaged foods going low carb, but now I know by having the extra electrolytes, and that's why we have those as something that you should have every day. Have electrolytes, or have some pickle juice, anything that's like got that salty hit, then that will help you out. But yeah, a little bit of extra salt on your meat brings out the flavours. Anyway, I'm going to have a quick look at your questions. I think we've gone through everything today, just in what I'm just prepping. So I'm going to actually have my lamb cevapi. I've got some fasta, which I'm going to actually have with the meatballs. I've got some naan ready, which I can have with anything throughout the week. I know I'm going to make a custard later tonight, so I've actually got something sweet. So if I need to have that break from something savoury or need something to fill up. So a lot of people say, oh, is there snacks? There is kind of like food that you could, like you could have a bit of bread or something like that. You could eat a piece of cheese or a bit of meat because, like, you know, this could be a snack. Do you know what I mean? But it's not about snacking. It's like where people are, I'm used to this. Well, if you're used to that and you're overweight and you're unhappy or you're unhealthy, then you need to make a change, right? Simple as that. So that's what this is about. It's about just paring it down. 4 days. Commit to the 4 days. Just eat what's on the plan. Like, only eat what you need. Don't eat every single thing that's on the plan. The meals are mainly 2 meals a day. 2, 4. But, you know, you eat what you need. You don't need to eat 4 meals a day unless you're heavily working out and you're heavily active or whatever. But I'm not going to tell anyone what they should or shouldn't have. But if you ate 4 meals every day for the 4 days and you don't lose anything at the end of the week, then the next week try and eat a little bit less. Yes, you might be hungry because that's everything starting to shrink. As we know, the more we go without, like if let's just say your gut is full of, I ate all of those, it's going to be this big. But then if every day I ate only 6, because there's 7 there, 5, 4, 3, things will get smaller and you'll get full sooner. There may be some days, like Dave, he was saying the other day, like he works out every day, 5 days a week. When he first started, he might have felt more hungry, but then his body got used to what he's eating and he doesn't need any more. It's like me, when I do thrive on the feeling of fasting, but I'm not somebody who goes 24-hour fasting, not anymore. I used to years ago, but I never ate breakfast. I'm not really a lunch person either. But, you know, like from that 12 till 2, 3 or whatever, that is probably when I started to eat. But like I kind of cut off mostly around about 4 p.m. is if I have anything after 4 p.m, it's usually on a weekend when I'm on my days off anyway. But throughout the 4 days, I just say 4 p.m. is my cut-off time. If I am dying after that, then I'll have a shake. Okay, so there has been a couple of days since I've gotten a lot smaller and I am a bit more active in that as well, that I need a bit more. But it's also like as you're getting smaller, you need less in that as well too. But, you know, it's just you've got to think about what you're doing and why you're doing it so that it'll actually work. It's not like, I can't go without. Well, I couldn't go without bread when I started low carb either, but I did. And now I have no desire to go back to eating bread. You know what I mean? Like some people, when you probably originally drank Coke with sugar and you said, I can't drink Diet Coke or whatever, and now you drink Diet Coke, or you're like me and only drink soda water and drink no soft drink whatsoever. You know, like where as a kid, it's like, you know, soft drink came into the house, gimme, gimme, gimme. Now it's like, no, not interested. I'll have a taste of some, but not really my thing. Even if I go out for lunch, I drink soda water. And you pay, it's still the same, I think. Like, you know, Coke knows sugar, soda water, same. But yeah, it is just getting used to things. And, you know, for me, I have just felt so full. I've felt more energy. I think that comes across in everything that I'm doing and the amount of work that I'm doing and that as well too, to show you that this can actually work for you. I am somebody I'm 51, 52 in February. I was highly insulin resistant. I had endometriosis since I was 17. Well, first surgery just after I turned 18, so probably had endometriosis from a lot younger than 17, but first diagnosed at 17. I've had Achilles tendonitis, bursitis, I've had sleep apnea, lots of different things, all from being extremely overweight. I've been over 110 kilos. I'm post-menopausal. I went through menopause at 30. So, you know, like all those things that could potentially stop me from losing weight, this plan has still been working for me perfectly. So I'm just checking to see that I put a timer on for that naan. I'm just going to have a quick look at your questions and then I'm going to get off because we've got things, and I'll just show you. So here's one of my naan breads here. So you can see, like, if I was to put this in there, I could put 2 in there probably. If I put 2 in there, and one of the things that's not on the plan that I actually do have, I mean, it's got like the creme fraiche and stuff, is I'll use like high protein yogurt or something like that. You could use the high protein cottage cheese if you wanted to, or quark, and I'll just put a little bit in there with some pesto or just some fresh herbs or a few leaves from my garden, and that is a meal in itself because these things alone are filling, right? So But yeah, it's just that easy. It's like you make those sort of things. I'm going to have 6 of those. I've got 7 of these. I've got, 10 meatballs, and I've got pasta here ready to go. That quite literally, I could actually just put that with a little bit of ricotta and some fresh prawns and a little bit of pesto over the top. Instant meal, done like that. And just think, well, there you go. I just said fresh prawns, ricotta cheese, pesto. Okay, swap the prawns for smoked salmon, hot smoked salmon, tin tuna, canned chicken, shredded chicken. Leftover beef ragu, mince, cooked, all those different things. So easy. One recipe that I make, and I make it in bulk. How many different ways can I serve it that are all high protein, extremely low carb? Going to give it another 2 more minutes before I try and flip them over. And so easy. And this pasta does not look like your pasta, your regular pasta. If you look at it. It doesn't need boiling or anything like that. But it is easily, and you will see a lot of people commenting about it. If you go through our Facebook group and just look up the word pasta, you'll see like people say it is like the best low carb pasta they have tried. There are recipes that are quite similar. The one on our website is not the same. It is a lot different. Even if you look back at the video that I've just made today and look at the recipe, you will see there is an enormous difference in what goes into it, even though they are kind of the same ingredients. But this is like the bomb in texture, no overpowering flavours, no weirdness, no sliminess. Even though it's got psyllium husk powder in it, there is nothing weird about it. Okay, it's not gritty, it's not crunchy, it's not. It doesn't put your teeth on edge. It's just beautiful pasta that is so versatile, and you can also use this for, like I said, lasagnas, ravioli, cannelloni. You can wrap up any of your. You can wrap that up with some green leaves, a little bit of cottage cheese and that, and actually have it as a wrap. You can fold it into anything, like we've got the tortilla ones in there and that as well, and bake it in the air fryer and make it crispy on the outside, so you've got like a hot pocket. So many different things that you can do with this recipe alone. It's just nuts. And you can even flavour these. So we can actually even make this sweet, and then you can slow bake it or dehydrate it into a cereal. So for all our Vital Zing lovers, think like apple cinnamon crunch cereal, all those sort of things, a little bit of chocolate and stuff like that. You can make it into chocolate. You just got to do it at a really low temperature, otherwise they can burn, okay? But yeah, great recipe. And that's what I'm saying. These things are so freaking versatile, and because you can add the extra protein, all the protein you need, but just remember what you need here and what you need here or here is a lot different than what's in the head sometimes. And we've got to break that thought process that we need to have breakfast, lunch and tea. We can't start the day without cream in our coffee. Well, you can. I used to drink white coffee. I haven't drank white coffee in I don't know how many years. So even when I started, I used to have cream in my coffee. I think every one of you know I'm a black coffee drinker. I love my coffee. I drink at least 3 cups every single day. And I have not had, and if you put cream or anything white in it now, I'd be like, get it away from me. Iced coffee, I can have a little bit, taste stuff and that, love it, but not as my coffee that I have to have every day. And I can say I have to have it every day because it doesn't have carbs in it, okay? So I'm going without the things that I don't need, and I'm not making excuses for the things I still don't need, just in case to have them, you know. It's just an excuse. If you say you can't go without this, try it. You can. We all can. Okay. Is there any questions? Where do the liners come from? Amazon. So for anyone that's not like I am an affiliate of them, but Amazon.com.au for us Aussies, or Amazon.com. If you go on there and you pay for the Prime membership, you can get like a channel like Netflix sort of style. So you get Prime Video, you can get books and music and all that sort of stuff. But it's like, I think it's $9.99. It costs me a month. But I get free delivery on almost everything that I buy. So, you know, you could buy allspice for $4 delivered to your house the next day. Do you know what I mean? Things like that. So it makes sense. So I buy the liners from there. Anything I ever need, I just look on there first. And I look through everything and find the ones that is the cheapest or whatever, and I buy it. And then I try it, and if I like it, I'll let you know. But yeah, they're not a specific brand or anything like that. They're just I just look up air fryer paper liners, and you'll find it. What is a chaffle maker, Rose? A chaffle maker is like a mini waffle maker. So A chaffle is like a cheese waffle. Basically, that was a name, and it was coined a couple of years ago, probably more than that now. If you go onto our website, you can even find our chaffle recipe. We have at least one, and we have some in our egg fast books and that as well too. I'm just going to turn that off. So I've been live for less than an hour. I have cooked the Fasta, I've cooked the cevapi, I've made the baharat, I've made 6 naan, I've got meatballs in there that are just about to beep off. We'll just give them a spin over. And put that on for another 6 minutes. And they're done. So you can see that that's really easy. So like if I was making this just for me, that and that is my protein for 4 days, easy, right? I got the pasta that I can use as pasta, and I can add the extra things that I was just saying out of a can or out of the fridge. I could even just like do this with ricotta and a little bit of pesto, and what else is not meaty? I don't know. A little bit of tomato on the top if you wanted to, but like honestly, keep your vegetables down. I know people are saying, I'm adding vegetables or I'm adding this or whatever. Just try the 4 days without. See how you go. The other days is where you can bulk up on it. Like I said, that first day, if you want to sit down and eat all the vegetables and a piece of fruit or whatever and push your carbs from below 10 up to 100 grams, go for your life. And then what you do afterwards is what I do, is like I actually then stop after I've eaten the high carb. Then I go back into the fasting state and I don't eat till 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock the next day, whenever I'm hungry, but it's usually after lunch. So then while I'm kicked out of ketosis, no ketones, by the time that rocks around after lunch the next day, ketones are starting to form. I've burned off all that energy of all the carbs. It doesn't matter where the carbs come from, right? So it doesn't matter if I'm eating cauliflower and that's carb, or I'm eating, like I say, don't eat a donut because they're like probably going to be ridiculous, and it's just bad habits. But if I'm going to eat like a bit of sweet potato or potato, like chips or something like that, have it. If it's something that you need, you want to go on and get KFC, go and get KFC. But don't get like the whole meal where they give you all the carbs, the bread, the potato and gravy, the chips. I never got why you get 2 serves of potato. Coleslaw that's full of sugar and that as well, plus the chicken that's floured. Have something small that is higher carb that you normally would, then it keeps your sanity. But if your sanity is to have blueberries and cream and, like I said, a whole big serve of broccoli and cauliflower or whatever with your steak later that night, knock yourself out. But extend it. Have a good day where you up the carbs and then drop it back down to a more relaxed, low carb, longer eating window over the next 2 days and then go back into the cycle. Very, very easy. No, I said chaffle maker, not jaffle maker. Okay, love the Fasta. Let's see, and another one that has changed from lattes, which is what I used to drink. Changed from lattes back to black. It's funny, when I first drank coffee, I drank it black because I hated milk, didn't really have a lot of dairy as a kid. And then I think it was one time Dave's mum gave me a white tea, and I loved it. It was a Scottish English breakfast tea with milk. Tastes amazing, by the way. Taylor's a Harrogate, if you're a tea drinker. Their Scottish breakfast is like the best tea. I just don't drink teas anymore, but I still like, that is like the best tea I've ever tried. And then I started having like milky coffees, like lattes and stuff. I had the Nespresso one where you froth the milk and put in your vanilla pod or whatever flavour, different pods, and that gingerbread coffee, whatever. I used to have all of those. They didn't have sugars in them. I think they were just flavoured. And now it's just black. It's all I can have. So, like I said, there is things that we can change, but like I literally was a main bread eater or before I ever went low carb, and I didn't think I could do this without going without bread. That's why I created so many keto breads when I started. Soul bread is one of our most popular ones at the moment, and that was one of the first recipes I created back in the day because I wanted something that was nice for toasted sandwiches, etc. I mean, to me, it's not like a great one just to eat. It was nothing like bread at the time, but it was good for toasties. I still haven't had it in years because I really have cut out a lot of breads. I tend to eat mine like this, flat breads. I really like, that's why I've gone into wraps, tortillas, naan bread, pasta. That really doesn't want to stay on that tray. Okay. I'm only getting buffering, so I'm hoping I'm still live, but anyway, I think I might have been cut off, I'm not sure. But we'll finish up now. So hopefully, if you're still seeing me, it's been a shocking connection here today for my live. But hopefully you've got all of that. If you're wondering where the recipes were from, today they were from the Meg Fast. The cevapi was just basically our beef kofta made differently, and our egg fast 3.0. But anyway, have fun. Have a good fast this week. I hope we've got lots of new joiners, and I'll be checking in throughout the week and giving you some tips because we're on our countdown now. So we've got 64 days till Christmas, and hopefully everyone, by the time Christmas rocks around, will be feeling a little bit better about themselves and making those plans and making those changes now, not waiting till the end of the time and then going, crap, now what am I going to wear? I don't fit into anything, I feel terrible, and you're not enjoying yourself. Make some changes now and have a great Christmas and start 2024 feeling pretty good. Okay, I'm going to come and get that because I'm just not sure if I'm even live anymore. But thanks for tuning in, and I will catch you all again soon.